Hello, Oscar. It's hello from Grandpa and Granny and from Moosey. Say hello, Moosey. Hello. Hello, Oscar. Hope you're doing well, Oscar, and having a lovely weekend. And I think I'll go and sit down now because I'm feeling a bit tired having got up to talk to you. There he is. He sat down there. Anyway, as I say, Granny and Grandpa send their love. Hope you're having a lovely time getting excited about Christmas. Lovely to see the pictures of you and Bo, and lovely to hear how well you're doing with your riding lessons. That's terrific. Anyway, we have to read a little bit more of the Lucky Snow Leopard. Whoa, look at that. If you'll remember, Zoe and Meep were helping to put up the Christmas tree. And there they were, look, all helping put up the Christmas tree. And just at the last moment, Great Uncle came along, didn't he, on a huge sleigh. And it had the Rescue Zoo symbol on it, and a colourful hot air balloon painted on one side. And tucked inside the sleigh was a large wooden crate. And perched on the front seat was a beaming man with a white beard and a red woolly hat. I see I'm just in time to put the star on the tree. You didn't think I'd miss it, did you? He called cheerfully. Hooray! Cried Zoe, jumping up and down. Great Uncle Horace. So it's chapter 2 now. A snowy arrival. Look at that. That looks like Donder and Blitzen. Do you think it is Pudding Father Christmas? Or is it Dancer and Prancer? I don't know. As Mr. Pinch started climbing back down the ladder, muttering crossly, the crowd rushed over to the sleigh. Zoe had never seen it before. She ran faster than anyone, and Great Uncle Horace swept her into his arms for a big hug. Zoe, Zoe, my dear, I'm so happy to see you. It's wonderful to be home for Christmas. Oh, of course, it's the most exciting time, isn't it, Oscar? And you'll have your little sister Annabelle to play with and to show her all the things that Christmas brings, all the exciting things. This is one of the best presents I could have asked for, replied Zoe, grinning. But where have you been? Did you travel all the way on this sleigh? Kiki and I have come from a very cold place called Mongolia. Gosh, Oscar, do you know where Mongolia is? You'll have to ask Mummy and Daddy to show you on the map. I've come from a very cold place called Mongolia, Great Uncle Horace told her. We got a plane home, but as we came through the zoo gates, we saw some of the keepers unpacking the new Rescue Zoo sleigh. I had it specially built so that visitors can have Christmas rides around the zoo. Isn't it splendid? Anyway, I guess you'd be putting up the tree, so I thought I'd hop in the sleigh and surprise you all. Now, I think I'd better put up that star. He climbed out of the sleigh, and Mr. Pinch grumpily handed the star over. Everyone watched as Great Uncle Horace carefully climbed the ladder and fixed the star in place. Lights, please, he called down. Lucy switched the Christmas lights on, and the crowd cheered. The whole clearing was filled with a warm, cosy glow. Zoe had never seen the zoo look so pretty. And there they all are, look. The lovely tree and all the lights on it. And Zoe at the bottom there. Mr. Pinch looking a bit grumpy about it, I think. It's gorgeous, Zoe breathed. When Great Uncle Horace reached the bottom of the ladder again, he clapped his hands. Now, I'm sure you've all noticed that I brought something home with me, he announced, nodding to the crate in the back of the sleigh. And you must have been wondering what the new enclosure is for. Well, now I can show you, if it's ready. Mr. Pinch looked annoyed. I'd just like to say, Mr. Higgins, that this enclosure was very expensive to build. It was extremely difficult to have it finished in time. But we managed to... So it is finished, said Great Uncle Horace. Excellent. Follow me, everyone. He climbed back into the sleigh, and Zoe cuddled up happily next to him, with Meep on her shoulder. Her mind was buzzing as she wondered what the new animal could be. Meep was trying to guess too. The crate's very big, Zoe, So the animal inside must be too, he chattered. Maybe another giraffe, or another polar bear. What do you think it is, Oscar? Well, I think we've got a little clue, haven't we? Because it's going to be the lucky snow leopard, isn't it? It must be an animal that we've never had at the rescue zoo before, Zoe pointed out in a whisper. That's why the new enclosure had to be built. Oh, that's pretty good. She's pretty clever, is Zoe. The reindeers trotted along gently, and Zoe could hear from their grunts that they were proud to be pulling the sleigh. In no time they reached the new enclosure. The zookeepers arrived just behind them, and Great Uncle Horace asked them to remove the wooden boards that kept it hidden. As the enclosure was revealed bit by bit, Zoe gasped. It was enormous and very beautiful. Tall, craggy rocks stretched high into the air, with a sprinkling of snow at the top. There was a deep, cosy-looking cave tucked into the biggest rock, and a glittering waterfall that poured into a winding little stream. Ooh, that sounds exciting. Wow, there's Zoe looking at it, and there's the cave. Whoa, really exciting. Brr, it looks chilly in there, Zoe, squeaked Meep, shivering, and those rocks look hard to walk on. Maybe it's for some mountain goats. Perhaps the crate's so big because there are lots of them, Zoe whispered back. I know they like the cold. Great Uncle Horace asked for the gates to be opened wide, and the crate carried inside the enclosure. Zoe thought it looked very heavy. She held her breath as two of the keepers unlocked the crate and lowered one side of it to the ground. There was a moment of silence as everyone waited. Then a pair of huge, creamy white paws appeared, covered in black spots. An elegant head peered out of the crate and sniffed the air. Very slowly, an enormous cat prowled out. A pattern of dark splodges covered her beautiful, fluffy, white coat. There we are. Look, there's the lucky snow leopard, Oscar. Isn't she beautiful? Zoe, what's that? Hissed Meep. A snow leopard, Zoe said, gasping. Great Uncle Horace leaned towards her, smiling widely. Did you know they are also known as the ghost of the mountain? Because they're so rare, he whispered. Wow. Then there was a meow from inside the crate and the pattering of smaller paws. Zoe couldn't believe her eyes as a second spotty face peeped out. But this time it was a snow leopard cub. Wow, Oscar, that's exciting. So it's now Chapter 3, The Nervous Newcomers. There they are. There's the parent and there's the cub. Wow. The huge snow leopard stared at the crowd with icy blue eyes and swished her long, fluffy tail. She bared her sharp teeth and hissed fiercely. Everyone understood that this was a warning to stay away from her and her cub. The smaller snow leopard cub huddled nervously between his mother's legs. Zoe could tell he wasn't a brand new baby. He looked maybe 3 or 4 months old. Zoe's mum took cautious steps towards the fence, but the snow leopard let out an angry growl and she stopped. Oh dear, they seem very anxious. I need to check them both over, but maybe I should leave them to settle in today. Great Uncle Horace nodded wisely. The poor things have had quite a frightening time, he explained. They were living on a lonely, snowy mountain when a farmer moved close by, along with his herd of sheep. The mother was hungry and desperate to feed her cubs, so one night she took a sheep for them to eat for their dinner. When the farmer realised one was missing, he was very angry. He would have killed them if Kiki and I hadn't rescued them in time. Well done, Great Uncle. Maybe that's why they don't seem to like people very much, Zoe said, gazing at the snow leopard. I think you're right, my dear, sighed Great Uncle Horace. The cub looked up at Zoe curiously, but his mother prowled to the back of the enclosure, settling down behind the waterfall where she couldn't be seen. The cub hesitated and then followed quickly after her. I'll talk to them when no one's around, Zoe thought. Then they'll see that we're all friendly here and that no one wants to hurt them. Come on, Zoe, I think you've had enough excitement for one day, said Lucy, smiling. It's getting late, and there'll be plenty of time to get the snow leopards settled in over Christmas. Let's go home for a hot chocolate. I'll drop by later, Great Uncle Horace promised. Zoe couldn't stop thinking about the beautiful snow leopards as she and her mum walked back to the cottage. As they passed the elephant enclosure, she heard a little trumpet. Bertie, the baby elephant, was trying to get Zoe's attention. I'll catch up with you, Mum. Left my mittens by the Christmas tree, Zoe said quickly, shoving her hands into her pockets. She didn't like not telling her mum the truth, but sometimes it was the only way she could talk to her animal friends. OK, love, don't be too long, Lucy said. When her mum was out of sight, Zoe dashed over to the elephant enclosure, with Meep following closely behind her. She reached for the silvery paw print necklace she always wore and held it against the gate. With a click, the gate swung open. The necklace had been a special present from Great Uncle Horace, and it opened every gate in the zoo. That's amazing, isn't it, Oscar? Bertie rushed over to them, flapping his ears eagerly. Can you flap your ears, Oscar? Just like an elephant? I'm having a go now. No, I don't think I can. And Bertie wrapped his little trunk around Zoe's waist. He is one of her favourite animals and always liked giving hugs. You seem even more excited than usual, Bertie, Zoe laughed, stroking his head. What are you so happy about today? Bertie let out a trumpet and Zoe grinned. It's almost Christmas. The zoo looks especially pretty, and you saw a big sleigh go past earlier, she said. You have had an exciting day, Bertie. Bertie squeaked curiously, and Zoe chuckled. No, it wasn't Santa driving the sleigh. It was Great Uncle Horace. He was coming home with 2 new animals for the zoo, a gorgeous snow leopard and her cub. And there's Zoe with Bertie, the baby elephant. He's tiny, isn't he? He's lovely. I suppose he did look a bit like Santa with his white beard and red hat, but there are still 5 sleeps left until Christmas, you know. Bertie let out an impatient sigh and Zoe smiled. Listen, Bertie, Meep and I have to go home now. It's almost our bedtime. And if you go to sleep now too, it will soon be morning. And then there will only be 4 more sleeps until Christmas. Gosh, Oscar, can you work out how many more sleeps there are until our Christmas? Ooh, it's quite a few, isn't it? I think it might be something like, maybe, is it 19 or 20? I'm not sure. You'll know best. You're quite clever. You'll be able to work it out. Bertie's eyes grew wide and he nodded eagerly. Zoe and Meep giggled as the little elephant dashed over to the trees he usually slept under, flung himself down on his cosy bed of hay and straw, and closed his eyes tightly. I think Bertie wants it to be Christmas even more than we do, Meep, Zoe whispered with a grin. Well, that's just come to the end of that chapter, Oscar. So next time we'll read a little bit more from The Lucky Snow Leopard. It's going to be very interesting, see how Zoe is able to talk to the mum. What a wonderful looking animal. Anyway, I hope you're having a lovely day with your little sister Annabelle and with Mummy and Daddy, and doing lots of exciting things and being very good, of course, as I know you always are. So I'd like just to say it's been lovely reading to you, and I know that Moosey would like to say bye-bye, bye-bye, Oscar, bye-bye. And Granny says, would you like to say goodbye for Granny too, Moosey? Yeah. Granny says bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. So, bye-bye, Oscar, and lots of love from Granny and Grandpa, and we'll catch up soon. Bye, bye.